Well, today is July 15th, which is a Friday. Just like in the movie, today is Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do. Well, I do. Which is once again we get to review AEW Rampage, which is part of Night 2 of Fyter Fest. And of course, we got NXT Level Up. Let's see who levels up this time. But also, we got some past events. Well, they came from one, but on the same day. Two of them is from ICW No Holds Barred with Volume 27 and The Pit that took place on the same day. The Pit is actually number 7, as you guys are wondering. But I'm excited to see what took place in all of them. And of course, we cannot forget some news updates, what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with, of course, AEW Rampage. It opened up with the Dark Order members, Silver and Reynolds, to take on Malachi Black and Brody King. However, this was a very interesting match. I have to say they did pretty well. However, I do like the combination when it comes to Reynolds and Silver. But however, the biggest surprisement is when Malachi Black was able to save Brody King when he jumped off a quarter of a way flying to stop the breakout. But however, when they did the Black Mass on Silver, he was out. But unfortunately, the Reynolds suffered the Dante's Inferno, giving the House of Black a win. But however, in post-match, as soon as the thing was cleared, Darby Allin took to the skies and attacked Brody King. Malachi Black realized what was going on, but he had an amazing stare down against the icon, the legend Sting. This became a game of chess. Who was going to make the first move? Malachi Black tried to make first move, but it did not work. So I have to say we could see something special in this type of feud. So we'll see what happens. Now Miro, as you know, has been sending a message to Malachi Black. As you know, he blacklisted him in the match in the Forbidden Door. So it looks like he's gonna have some unresolved issues towards him, but we'll see what happens. Now, our next match is the ROH World Championship between, of course, Lee Moriarty, who's been on the side of Matt Sydal, and we cannot forget Jonathan Gresham being accompanied by Tully Blanchard. Of course, we were going to see distractions taking place. However, the match would have been, it was so awesome. It showed what technical wrestling should be. But unfortunately, it was, of course, the Octopus who walked away as the victor. And he called out anybody who's willing to challenge him. And it turned out it was one person that did. We all know who he is. He made ROH his home for a while. And that is Claudio Castagnoli. As you know, he never held the ROH World Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this match, and it's now been confirmed that he will be facing Jonathan Gresham at the Death Before Dishonor, which is going to be killer. But however, Matt Sydal, as you know, is not happy with how things turned out. Even Stokely Hathaway tried to convince, Lee Moriarty to dump Matt Sydal, but however, Sydal had a better idea. He decided to put him in the ring against Dante Martin, so that will happen soon. Now, Christopher Daniels, as you know, is really good friends with Samoa Joe. He sent out a strict message to Jay Lethal because, as you know, Samoa Joe is not there to defend himself due to the arrogance of Jay Lethal. But Christopher Daniels, as you know, will do everything in his power to defend him. Now, I don't know how Samoa Joe will feel, but we'll see what happens then. Our next match is, of course, is Chris Statlander and Athena versus the Renegade Twins. This one went by too quick, but in the baddie section, of course, Layla Gray was there. But as soon as it was over, when the match ended, Layla Gray tried to get involved, and of course, all of this and that. But however, but what happened, Athena and Chris Statlander were playing mind games, but not with Jade Cargill. But I think they were playing it as what Stokely Hathaway has been trying to avoid. The real question does remain: is Jade Cargill threatened by Chris Statlander and Athena? Now, there's no doubt in my mind that these two will face off each other regardless. But is Jade Cargill scared? That is the obvious. Is Stokely Hathaway really trying to duck her? Well, we'll see about that. Now, our next interview, I think we have them. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had 2 sheets of paper that I wrote down. Okay, now we have a little interview with the Gun Club. As you know, they want to speak their actions about what happened when they turned against the Acclaim. The Acclaim came out all business, no rapping, but they decided to kick some ass and teach, of course, the Gun Club a lesson. Now, they wanted to fight them, but not the Gun Club. So we will see that match soon enough. Now, our main event is Private Party taking on the Lucha Brothers. Now, we know this is going to be good. However, we know that the factor is the outside interference when it comes to Jose and Andrade. Now, Andrade cannot be wrestling because he's, according to what sources are telling me, that he is injured. I don't know what kind of injury, but I'll look into that as soon as enough. But Rush did show up and tried to make things work out his favor. It did not, but it did give, of course, Rey Fenix the opportunity to pick up a huge win in this one. But you can tell that this is not over between La Facción Ingobernable and the Lucha Brothers. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's move on with NXT Level Up. Okay, so who levels up in NXT Level Up? Well, let's begin with our first match. Ikemen Jiro taking on Quincy Elliott. Now, this was a very unique match in every aspect. Now, I always talk about how unique wrestlers are. Like, you can take me, I talk about Wendy Chu, I talk about Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, those type are. But when it comes to guys like Ikemen Jiro and Quincy Elliott, I have to say they are unique in their own right. What I'm referring to is when I see Ikemen Jiro wearing that jacket, I say he's a unique wrestler, despite the fact that he's wrestling, in a jacket. But however, when it comes to Quincy Elliott, he's in a different ball game than I did not anticipate, but it works for him. Now, you would say in this type of particular match, the X factor is Quincy Elliott is the bigger individual in this match. So he would have won the match, but however, it was Ikemen Jiro to pull off a very impressive win against a bigger individual like Quincy. I did not expect that. So I have to say, pretty good. Now, we did see an interview with Andre Chase along with his students, Thea and Bohdi Hayward, which we're going to see they enjoy their time in London, and we will see where else they're going to go next. Our next match, we have Kiana James versus, what's her name again? Sol Ruca. Now, as you know, Kiana James is starting making a lot of headways. As you know, she began a little feud with Indy Hartwell by stealing a match from her by using rope, saying that she will lose instantly. But however, I have to say Sol Ruca really impressed me. She really showed a little bit of what she can do, but I feel like we will have to wait to see what else she's going to do in the future because we have a long way to go with her. But however, it was an impressive finisher by Kiana James that allowed her to win the match. Now, our main event, we have Miles Bourne teaming up with Javier Bernard. This is the first time these two team up, I believe, taking on Bohdi Hayward and Andre Chase, along with their support system, the students, but mostly Thea Hale. I have to say it was a pretty good match because it showed us, how much Chase U has growing as one of the most interesting groups ever. And I think it's pretty good. But however, it was Bohdi Hayward They picked up the victory after Miles Bourne screwed up, hit Javier Bernal, and it was over right from there. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Miles Bourne take on Javier Bernal, payback for what happened in this particular match. But we can say Chase U are really on a roll right now. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. I think I'm starting to grow on these guys a lot. So, but I think that's pretty much it right now with NXT Level Up. I believe it's time for ICW No Holds Bars Volume 27. Okay, it's been a while since I did an ICW event. Now, this is one of two of the same day events. So, this one is volume 27 that took place on the 1st of July. Opening match, we got Akira taking on Schlonk. Now, this was a very brutal match. Now, you probably would guess, yes, Schlonk, he's crazy, he's nuts. But they gave him the W in this particular match. You know, basically, Akira Schlonk put him away badly and allowed him to win the match. Next up, we got Complan taking on a member of 440, Bobby Beverly. Now, this match was so brutal, but it was, of course, the aggressiveness of Bobby Beverly using the barbed wires that allowed him to pick up the W in this one. That finished off, of course, a Kaplan, and it gave him the W. Our next match, we got Tony Vendetta taking on Joshua Bishop. Now, I've seen Joshua Bishop before in AIW, Absolute Intense Wrestling, but I don't know if he ever competed in ICW. But if he has, someone please tell me, and I'll probably look into it. But he did pretty well. But however, it was Tommy Vendetta who has the most experience in these type of matches with death matches. Joshua Bishop, I don't know for sure, but he picked up a good victory in this one. And everybody are telling Bishop to come back. I'm sure we will see him come back. We just don't know when he'll do it. Next up, we got, of course, Randy West versus Danny DeMonto, who is the founder of ICW No Holds Bars. I have to say it was a pretty good match. Randy, who is in fact is not a guy, it's a girl, a woman. Listen to that. She was really impressive, but however, that match did not go exactly her way. Even Danny picked up the good win, but in the promo, I think DeMonto, he really was impressed by her, that she is putting her blood, sweat, and tears into this whole thing. And he even asked her, is it worth it? And she said, F yes. And I think it's pretty promising that we could see her more and more in ICW. So we just don't know when that will happen, but we can't wait. Now, our next match is a bit of a, 2-on-1 handicap match. We got the Kirks versus, the Kirks, Brandon and Casey. Well, nobody likes Brandon, but everybody likes Casey. They take on the most dangerous, crazy monster ever, Kroll. Now, they tried ways to take out a huge, powerful dude out of the picture, like taping him to the ring ropes. That did not work. Now, you probably say Kroll is going to kill Casey. Maybe so, but he did put away both of them. He was about to make some more damage after he won the match when he pinned both the Kirks, but Casey pleaded with him not to cause any more damage. So Kroll just left her alone and walked away. Our next match, we have Dale Patricks versus John Wayne Murdoch. As you know, John Wayne Murdoch always has a chip on his shoulder when it comes to this. Now, Dale Patrick, I've seen him many times. He has become more experienced when it comes to death matches, as we always seen. I thought it was pretty good, but however, it was Murdoch who picked up the victory, giving him the W, and of course, he gained respect. He gave Dale Patrick his respects. Now, our main event is the ICW American Deathmatch Championship between Joel Bateman and Eric Ryan. I thought this match was definitely going to go with Eric Ryan, but no, I was surprised it did not. It ended in favor of Joel Bateman because he took out. Now, you know how in MMA when you're pounding the one person and the ref calls it. Well, that's what happened of course, with Eric Ryan. It was over. The referee made the obvious choice to call this match and give the match to Joel Bateman, allowing him to become the brand new ICW American Deathmatch Champion. So we'll see what it's gonna go. So we do know there is the Volume 28. I haven't seen yet, but we'll go. But right now, let's move on with, of course, the other ICW show, The Pit 7. Okay, our last review we have, of course, is the other ICW No Holds Barred show, The Pit 7. This one also took place on the 1st. Now, some of you are saying, what is the difference between the previous one and this one? Well, the previous event has a ring, but instead of using ring ropes, they use chains. The Pit is more of an open space, kind of like you just use a mat, kind of similar to Choco Pro, but yes, there's all kinds of weapons you can use in the pit, and it's all legal. Now, our first match, we have Neil Diamond Cutter, who just made his return after healing up his body. He takes on what's his name, Malcolm Monroe 3, or M3 or MM3. This match was pretty good. I didn't think a whole lot until Cutter, or as we call him, NDC, applied a sort of like a brainbuster on top of doors that allowed him to pick up the win. So yeah. Now our next match we have is Aaron Williams versus Isaiah Broner. Now everybody we're rooting for Broner the most because Williams is the most hated person, but they were telling Williams that Broner's gonna kill you. Now it didn't bother Williams, but Williams liked to take the fight outside of the mat or wherever they were at, thinking that would work by softening up Broner. But however, Broner had a much better idea. He decided to choke him out, and he had no other choice but to tap out. But Broner showed respect to Aaron Williams, so we'll see where else is going to go from there. Now our next match we have Satu Jin versus the Carver. Now the Carver is a real nut job. He's like a retard version of, you know, Leatherface with it from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought the match was going to go a little longer, but it did not. But it did allow for Carver to use all sorts of ways to win. He even chained up Satu Jin, and he pinned him, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. He won the match. Now our next match we have Darren McCarthy taking on the most hated person, Brandon Kirk. Now this match, as you know, would have been simpler, but the match was called by the ref when Tommy Vendetta tossed the towel to end the match when he realized that, of course, Darren was bleeding out from the head. Now that this allowed for Brandon Kirk to pick up the victory, but I'm sure many fans did not like that how it ended, but it did. So basically, he walked away with the W. But as for MacArthur, we'll see what happens then. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's do our last thing, which is news updates. Okay, this is very interesting news about this, but first things first, if you guys have been aware, the reason Gunther has moved to the States was because we were wondering why. Now, part of me felt that maybe he wasn't going to uh, enjoy doing this, but it turns out maybe the reason that he didn't do, the reason he moved is because he divorced his wife. But recently we were aware that he was dating NXT UK star Jinny, and now it's been confirmed from WWF old school news outlets that said that Gunther and Jinny are married, and Jinny took his name. Now, we haven't seen Jinny since November of 2021, but it's been reported that Jinny is working as an interviewer in NXT UK in BT Sports. So we don't know if this is only temporarily or what it is. So we'll see. But as for Gunther, we know what he's been doing. He's been killing it in the main roster. So that's practically what we're aware. Now, I did mention on previous occasions on the news updates about the Stardom in Showcase Volume 1 that's going to take place on the 23rd. Well, they added under the match, this one's called the Nagoya Rumble. We're going to have a bit of a Rumble match. We have Mayu Iwatani, Saki Kashima, Azuki, Momokoko, Hanan, Ruka, Rina, Hina. Waka Tsukiyama comes back after taking a rest. And then we got Miyu Amasaki, and we have 3 X's. That means 3 individuals will be joining. We just don't know who or where. We'll just find out. Now, for all you Yoshi wrestling fans out there, you may, if you guys follow Pure-J Wrestling, you may have heard that there's been changes in the card that's going to take place on the 17th of this month. Just turned out that Riko Kaiju, who suffered a fracture on the left fifth metatarsals, will be out for quite some time, and it was supposed to be her versus Kreia, but they replaced her with Madeline, who will be taking her spot. So we'll see. So that's a good thing. Now, more on the Yoshi World, what's been going on. Yuna Manase is injured. Apparently, it turns out that she will be missing this Sunday's Gambari Pro, but she was replaced by Sayaka from Got Move. So this is a very interesting move they're going to do, but we'll see what happens then. But for now, I think that's pretty much it what we got for our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we got more on Choco Pro. This is the first time we see without Balianaki, but he's been watching here in the States, just like Emi Sakura does. And of course, we got NWA USA, which I'm going to be reviewing. Now, if I'm going to do another review before that or after that, we'll see about then. But let's just leave it as that. And I will do another one after that. Just don't know when, but hopefully very, very soon. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.